Let me through! Let me through! Let me through! That's my son! That's my boy! My boy!
Look at how they massacred my boy! No! Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Well, man. We have a lot to talk about today. Anyways, welcome back, true believers and all you spectacular Spidey fans, to another very shocking episode of Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered 101. So before we dive into the heat of the matter, I do want to just reiterate one thing, is that once again, the only way that you can actually acquire the Remastered edition of Marvel's Spider-Man is, in fact, if you decide to purchase the Ultimate Edition of Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Considering that both games are going to be bundled in one cohesive package priced at a total amount of $69.99 USD, this is surely going to be the most definitive version of playing through both games, which of course is going to be fully compatible on next-gen hardware with the PlayStation 5. And if Miles' own standalone game as well as the remastered edition of Marvel's Spider-Man wasn't enough, Insomniac decided to officially reveal the other day the complete pre-order bonuses that do come equipped with Miles Morales. Now, before Insomniac decided to officially reveal these pre-order bonuses themselves on their Twitter page, the primary PlayStation Direct website as well as Walmart Gaming already revealed them about a week ago. So if you do want the complete rundown as to all the pre-order bonuses that will be featured with Miles Morales' game, as well as fully indicating what the second pre-order suit is, I will leave a link to that video in the description below so you can check it out for yourself in case you missed it. But boy oh boy do we have a lot to go over today, not relating to Miles Morales, but specifically in the case of Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. And while there is a lot of stuff to get hyped about for Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, there is one particular factor that quite a lot of people, including myself, are incredibly turned off by. But before we even begin to dive into that situation, this news does come directly from PlayStation themselves with a Twitter post showcasing brand new information about the remaster, stating online with a bunch of new screenshots that the power of PS5 elevates Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered to new heights. Learn about ray tracing enhancements, Peter Parker's graphical updates, and more. And to reiterate once again, the remaster is going to be included with Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition only on PlayStation 5. Hashtag be yourself. And following that initial tweet, we do have a complete rundown about the remaster on the PlayStation blog website, which was written by the community director over at Insomniac Games himself of James Stevenson. And to jump into James's statements right off the bat, we were so excited to announce that a voucher code for Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered will be included with the Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition on the PlayStation 5 console. This is a full next-gen remastering of Marvel's Spider-Man. The team has been carefully crafting the definitive version of the game with new assets, technology, and updates. We're taking advantage of next-generation technologies that the PlayStation 5 console introduces, as well as bringing some additional features to the game, including 3 new suits, one of which we do have a completely new screenshot of. But before we dive into that, let's talk about graphical updates. The team has done the painstaking work of updating the city's environment to take advantage of the new console. Beyond improved models and materials, one of the biggest things we have brought to the game is ray-traced reflections and ambient shadows. We now have true reflections on the windows of buildings, and it looks stunning with our new skies and weather. And lo and behold, here are the first looks of what Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered is going to look like running completely on the PlayStation 5. And oh my god, this game looks absolutely stunning. The differences of the visual fidelity that you can point out between the PS4 and PS5 version of Marvel's Spider-Man is almost uncanny. For starters, the screenshot that we do see here of Spider-Man swinging throughout Times Square in a fully brand new updated city environment on the PS5 just looks gorgeous. Seeing the updated lighting and the reflections of Spider-Man within the vehicles of New York is going to be a much needed change of pace for the visual quality of Marvel's Spider-Man, especially considering how the PS5 is completely promising fully ray-traced and up-resed environments. And as for the second screenshot, seeing the upgraded quality of the environments with reflections in the building is going to be a rather small but still very substantial upgrade from the PS4 onto the PS5. But don't worry, because alongside of these visual improvements that we can see within the remaster in simple screenshots, screenshots, we also have brand new footage of Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered running on PlayStation 5 at a complete 60 FPS performance mode. And man, even though Spider-Man PS4 still ran incredibly well on a PlayStation 4 Pro, seeing the game actually play at 60 FPS is just a dream come true. And the visual quality that the game has now compared to what we had on the PS4 has just skyrocketed 10 times over. But as James went on to say within the PlayStation blog post, additionally, thanks to the power of the PS5 console, we're now able to offer a high frame rate through performance mode, which targets a 60 FPS frame rate. This allows you to experience the beginning of the Marvel's Spider-Man storyline like never before. And as you would expect, it feels amazing to play. So knowing that both Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered are going to run at a solid 60 FPS performance mode with the visual enhancements of ray-traced environments and gorgeous lighting effects within the overall world of Marvel's New York, this is surely going to be a breathtaking experience for hardcore Spidey fans. And speaking of hardcore Spidey fans, Insomniac have finally decided to reveal one of the 3 brand new suits that will be featured within Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. And considering the fact that they specifically used the word amazing to describe all 3 suits, this is surely going to hype up a lot of people. And as James goes on to describe within the article, that's not all. We take full advantage of other next-generation PlayStation features like near instant loading. And for those of you wondering, don't worry, you can turn back on those humorous fast travel animations if you missed them. Spatial 3D audio on compatible headphones, and the revolutionary DualSense controller's haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. And like we know already, we've also brought new photo mode features to the game that we developed for Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. You can now place lights in the environment and change your spider suit after you've lined up your shot. And while that might be a minuscule addition to the game's photo mode features, this is surely going to come in handy for a lot of photogenic people who love taking pictures of Spider-Man. And in traditional Insomniac style with their constant teasing, oh, speaking of spider suits, here you go! That's right, the Amazing Suit has arrived as one of 3 new suits in the game. It's the perfect suit to wear as you attempt to earn the Platinum Trophy in Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. And Lord have mercy, this suit looks absolutely insane. I don't know about all of you guys, but if I had to choose between the Amazing Spider-Man 1 or the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, I would actually choose the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit any day of the week. There were obviously quite a lot of people agitated that we did not receive the Amazing Spider-Man suits within Spider-Man PS4 back in 2018. But obviously, seeing that Insomniac knows how important those suits are to a lot of fans, they did decide to at least incorporate one of the suits within Spider-Man Remastered. Now, as for whether or not we're also going to see the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit alongside of the Vigilante suit from the movies within this game as well is still unknown as of right now. But considering how damn good this suit looks within a screenshot alone, I can only imagine how it's going to appear while it's in motion. Now, we still don't know exactly when Insomniac is planning to reveal the other 2 new suits within Spider-Man Remastered, but if I did have to guess, I would say they might reveal them both as we draw closer to Miles Morales' launch, which, of course, if you don't know, is going to be on November 12th, which again is the same day as when the Remastered is going to launch on the PS5 as well. But even with all these upgrades, there still is one specific flaw that I do have with the Remaster as a whole, and surprisingly, this is a pretty big flaw in and of itself. Now, just to be completely clear, I love absolutely everything that I am seeing and hearing about Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, and I for one can't wait to play through the game all over again once I'm able to play it on PS5. Especially keeping in mind that this is without a doubt my most favorite iteration of the Spider-Man / Peter Parker character in any other form of media outside the comics. And that doesn't just relate to the overall narrative perspective that we see Peter progress through in the story, but also how he comes off visually as a character as a whole. And like you all saw in the beginning, we have a big change to talk about when it comes to Peter Parker's look within this game. So as James Stevenson went on to completely describe in this PlayStation blog article, he does state, but it's not just the environments. Our characters have also gotten a huge upgrade. From higher fidelity skin, eye, and teeth shaders to individually rendered strands of hair, the new tech and detail brings our characters and their performance performances to new life. And probably with the most controversial aspect about the remaster is where James states this does bring us to one of the bigger changes. In order to bring the best performances to players with our next generation Marvel Spider-Man games, we have recast the face of Peter Parker. We loved working with John Bubniak on the original game, who, if you don't know, is the original motion capture face model for Peter Parker within Spider-Man PS4. However, to get a better match to Peter Parker slash Spider-Man actor Yuri Lowenthal's facial capture, we have cast Ben Jordan to be the new face model for Peter Parker on the PS5 console. He looks incredible in-game, and Yuri's moving performances take on new life. Here's a clip of one of our most powerful scenes from the first game, when Peter arrives to work to find his boss and mentor Otto Octavius working on the arms that will come to define him. And man, if you guys haven't watched this scene already, I'll just let it play out for itself.
Hello? Parker! Just in time to celebrate.
Celebrate? Wait. Where are the arms? Oh, wow. So cool. But how did you...
Intracranial neural network. Neurotransmission speeds under 1 nanosecond. Faster than signals travel inside the brain. Never mind to an external prosthesis. We did it, Peter. No one can take this away from us.
Amazing.
And your work on the neural web was the key.
But we haven't even tested it yet. There's so much we don't know.
It works beautifully. Come on, take a look.
You serious?
If there was one word that I had to use to completely summarize my overall initial reaction when seeing the new face model of Peter in Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, I would easily say that I felt completely bamboozled. Now, just to lay it out there for anyone wondering, I have no qualms with the new face model of Peter Parker within this game of Ben Jordan. And in fact, I'm actually very intrigued to see the complete performance of Ben Jordan's visual capture as Peter Parker's face model in the other scenes once we completely play through the new game for ourselves. And don't worry, because even though we do have a completely new face model of Peter Parker within the remastered version of Marvel's Spider-Man, the same amazing voice actor who played Peter Parker in the first game of Yuri Lowenthal is still going to be voicing Peter in the remaster. But if I am to be completely honest, this is probably the biggest downgrade I have ever seen within this game. I know that Insomniac said previously that we were going to see a brand new next generation Peter Parker within the remastered version of Marvel's Spider-Man, but I didn't think it would be this drastic of a change, especially considering the fact that we also see William Sawyers as Dr. Otto Octavius within the brand new clip as well, who looks almost exactly the same as how he did in Spider-Man PS4, who has now just been visually polished onto the PS5, and actually looks simply incredible. But seeing a completely new face onto this version of Peter Parker is just a lot for me to take in. And to point out the elephant in the room right now, if you're someone who does not think that this brand new version of Peter Parker within Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered does not look at all like Tom Holland himself, then you, my friend, are in flat-out denial. Besides the absolutely outstanding performance that Yuri Lowenthal gave as Spider-Man within the first game, one of the reasons as to why Insomniac's version of Peter Parker was so incredibly different from all the other live adaptations is because of John Bubniak's inclusion. In my personal opinion, John Bubniak was and still is a huge part of Peter Parker's character within Spider-Man PS4. The multitude of mannerisms that John brought alone within Peter Parker's facial animations is what made him so lovable and unique in the first place. And seeing that Insomniac is essentially taking this part of Peter Parker away within the remaster will make it feel pretty much like a completely different character. Although, even though I am pretty upset about John Bubniak being recasted within Marvel's Spider-Man Remaster, there's essentially no way that we're going to be able to get him back within the game. Which then led led to quite a few people online, including myself, putting out the hashtag of Bring Bubniak Back or Bring Back Bubniak. And as you would expect, this news did directly reach Insomniac almost instantly, where we did receive a response from both the Insomniac Twitter page and James Stevenson themselves, where James Stevenson did post saying, "I think our reasoning on the blog is pretty spot on. It had to be done," where Shadow00 put out hashtag Bring Bubniak Back, and sadly James Stevenson replied by saying not happening. This was then reiterated by Insomniac Games on Twitter from another user named Creston saying, "Oh boy, I'll admit that this new model's face seems to work better with Yuri's facial expressions, but man, it's dissonant to try to reassign his voice to this new face after being so used to the old one. Either way, I'm hyped." And Insomniac pretty much put the nail in the coffin with this statement by saying, "You'll get used to it quick. None of us can go back after working on this over the last year." So in short, John Bubniak is out and Ben Jordan is here to stay. But to provide a bit more clarity on this entire new face model situation is coming directly from the main man himself, none other than the creative director of Marvel's Spider-Man, Brian Intihar. And he went to state on Twitter a few words from me on today's news. "Today's news about the Peter Parker face model has surprised some of you, and we at Insomniac totally understand your reaction. Heck, it even took me a while to get used to Peter's new look. But as we discussed the franchise's future and moving to the PS5, it quickly became apparent that delivering even more believable looking characters made finding a better facial match for actor Yuri Lowenthal, who we all love as Peter, a necessity. We care as much about this character as your attachment to him. So please know we didn't make this decision/change lightly. As we did throughout the development of Marvel's Spider-Man, we'll continue to read your comments, listen, and always be looking for ways to improve every facet of the game. At the same time, I hope you can trust us that this decision is what we feel is best for the future of the franchise, and our upcoming goals for this beloved Marvel character." Now, even though John Bubniak will always hold a very special place in my heart, especially since I was actually able to interview him and meet him in person during E3 2018, which by the way was one of the most surreal moments of my entire life, I am still willing to give Ben Jordan's Peter Parker a chance and see how his performance will vary compared to John Bubniak. But still, if I did have to choose between John and Ben, I would instantly choose John in a heartbeat. But with all of that said, everyone, that's the massive news video that I have for you today for Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. Please tell me every single one of your thoughts that you have about the game's additions with the remaster for its visual quote-unquote improvements to Peter Parker's character model, as well as the inclusion of the amazing Spider-Man 1 suit and the brand new 60 FPS performance mode gameplay. Again, I am absolutely hyped for everything within the remaster except for the switch of Peter Parker's character model, because knowing how important John Bubniak's inclusion was for the first game to make this version of Peter Parker a truly new and unique iteration of the character that we've never seen before, I sincerely hope that Ben Jordan can bring the same type of aspect to Peter Parker once we play as him within the remaster. And until more news is revealed, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy. And without further ado, peace out.
You rest easy, knowing your secret is safe with me.
You do what you think is best, Doc. It's all any of us can.
Peter?
Even when it hurts like hell.
Peter, where are you going? Peter?